What's up, Trekkies? Hi, so we've got a lot of it's a very large blog post. So there's gonna be a lot of text on the screen. I know my beautiful face probably is not one of the things people want to see, but we gotta have a lot of information going on here. So I did a little bit of self-research recently to see if people see what other Star Trek Online people are talking about. Most of them do like ship videos and this, that, and the other thing, or they'll do like gameplay videos and they're like bland and boring and wow, that was a really good, like, come on, it's 42 minutes and you're playing one episode. I understand these things take a long time, but it's just like, or when they review a ship, they'll do it with like their main character and they won't even try to be in the spirit of the ship. They're like, oh, I'm going to take this cruiser and I'm going to put all the tactical stuff on it because I'm a tactical officer. And I'm like, maybe it would help if you told people how to work it as a cruiser. I understand you're a tactical officer, but don't try to force the most tactical offensive gameplay with a cruiser, perhaps. So the general idea is, like, I watched someone do a science vessel, the Lucari science vessel, the event ship. I watched their entire combat set. They're like, wow, this ship's really powerful. I can't believe how powerful this ship is. And I'm like, one, you got that to tier 5. You have the mastery. You've played this ship a little bit. Don't act surprised that it's really powerful. 2, you never engage sensor analysis. Boom, that little arrow at the top. If you never engage that and you're playing a science vessel, you didn't review a science vessel. Emergency power to weapons 2 and 3. Are you kidding me? Science vessel. Do your science shit. I understand that you personally would play it this way, but whatever. I have, also get a little bit spicy with your voice. I understand that some people are streamers, so they have to just sort of talk and talk and talk, and they just talk endlessly, but whatever. Saw in the comments on one of the bloggers, someone's like, do you do cuts in your videos? Because I barely noticed there's a lot of dead time. And he goes, well, I don't have the kind of software that the big, powerful YouTubers have to cut. I'm not a big, powerful YouTuber. I got like 1,500 subscribers. I just don't cut. Anyway, so we're moving on to the video title, which is the Vesta. So I went back in my videos. Apparently I made a prediction for 2017 about a Vesta. It's in my STO predictions 2017. Apparently, I'm also talking about winter ships. And then I talked about the winter sale, blah, blah, blah. Way back February 2nd of 2016, boom, because I typed in Vesta to look for the thing and complete review of the Paradox Dreadnought. Probably talked about it for that because I was getting a tier 6 ship and how it compared to the Vesta, and I've been wanting a Vesta for a while. Here's Resreth Afterthoughts, probably talking about the winter event, why we don't have a science vessel, and then I complain about the tier 6 Vesta. I mean, I've been complaining about the tier 6 Vesta for a long time. But then again, any other time I play the Vesta, I also have the tag. So I don't think I've been complaining about a tier 6 Vesta since 2015. Hopefully I haven't. I don't even remember when tier 6 vessels came out. It's that church bank. Well, the Dauntless was a ship that was in tier 6. That was November 4th, 2014. Whatever. It's finally here. Finally here. And I've been talking to it about for at least 2 years. So apparently if you whine enough, you'll get something you want. So they're gonna come in individual 3-pack based on faction or 9-pack, the super bundle. If you've got characters in other factions and they're science officers or you want to fly these things. Because at least for KDF, it is a Gorn vessel, so that helps. At least with the roleplay aspect. The stats of these are very similar. And they're similar across the factions. So like the Federation engineering, the Klingon engineering, and the Romulan engineering are all going to have the exact same stats. So I'm not going to cover all 9 ships. I'm going to cover the Federation ones because they're the ones at the top of the list. But I've read through and I've done my... and they're all the same. The Gorn have fighters at the bottom, and I will explain those at the end. The engineering variant of these has a Commander Science, Lieutenant Commander Universal, Temporal Operative, which all of the ships have. This one has Lieutenant Tactical, Lieutenant Commander Engineering, Ensign Universal, which is slightly different from the other ships. It comes with the Omnidirectional Tachyon Wave Siphon, plus 10 shield power, plus 10 ox. And then the exotic particle shielding starship traits. 4 tactical, 3 engineering, 4 science. That seems wrong. But it would be more, man, it's more across the board. The science version has Commander Science, haha, Temporal, and then the Lieutenant Commander Universal Temporal Operative, and then Lieutenant Tactical Engineering and Universal, which I'm just going to probably put a science on there. Maybe. I don't know. The science one has 5 science, 3 engineering, 3 tactical, so obviously heavy science. It comes with the isometric dispersal array, the starship trait of charged particle reaction, and plus 5 weapon power, plus 15 ox. It's the science variant. I expect more ox. And then the tactical, which is the Palatine, Palatine, Paladine, Paladin, whatever you want to pronounce this as. Palpatine, I guess, I don't know. It has Commander Science, duh. Lieutenant Commander Universal Temporal Operative, duh. Lieutenant Commander Tactical, Lieutenant Engineering, Ensign Universal. So the science has sort of a bland bridge officer thing with Lieutenant, 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 whereas the engineering and the tactical have a Lieutenant Commander of their specialization and a Ensign Universal rather than a Lieutenant Universal. Make sense? There's the flow to how all these ships work. And it comes with plus 10 weapon power, plus 10 ox, also radiation bombardment matrix, and the heavy tachyon mine trait. So we're going to move down and we're going to talk about those. So the omnidirectional tachyon wave siphon that comes with the engineering variants release a wave of tachyon particles that will heavily damage and weaken nearby enemy shields. This energy is then drawn into your starship shield emitters in the form of secondary shielding. The amount of secondary shields absorbed scales to the number of foes hit. So gather things together and sap their shields as you fly through them, I guess. Fly next to them. Console also provides a passive bonus of starship drain expertise and shield restoration. So having the console on passively helps boost its ability. The console mod can be equipped on any multi-mission Explorer or Explorer Warbird, because they had to make the Romulans special. Little snowflakes. You lost your planet and now you gotta have everything named funky for you. The science variant comes with the isometric dispersal array, which is a single devastating cylindrical blast of electrical energy towards the target. Enemies that are struck will suffer heavy electrical damage and release a secondary blast that causes additional electrical damage over time and will knock engines offline briefly. Bonus to directed energy damage and crit severity. The radiation bombardment matrix that comes on the tactical variants, is when the console ability is activated, your starship's deflector begins to periodically bombarding enemy starships in your frontal arc with deadly radiation. Enemies affected by this radiation will suffer minor radiation damage with each pulse and have their flight speed, turn rate, and damage resistance reduced as long as they remain in the arc. So, cool. Again, want to throw up a gravity well, pull everything in and just bathe them in radiation. Also, if you can, hit the other one so you have a cone effect on, so you have the cylindrical effect while they're all tightly packed. After a few seconds, your starship will release a devastating barrage of radiation that deals heavy radiation damage that scales with the number of times the target was hit by the initial radiation pulses. So all of it, it's going to make a lot of damage. Foes affected by this final radiation burst will also have their flight speed, turn rate, and damage resistance reduced for a short time. Probably seconds, in terms of like 10 seconds. Still pretty good. Passive boost to particle generators and turn rate. The set bonuses, and this is what I find weird. Obviously they're set bonuses, but the 4-piece is actually from the Lucari Hokun science vessel, the event ship. Set 2, maximum shield hit points, plus ox power. Yay! Synergistic Alliance Technologies, recharge time reduced for all consoles in this set. Don't know by how much. I wouldn't expect 50%, possibly 25%. Multi-mission system synergy, empowerment of all consoles in this set. The wave emitter, shield drain potency increased, discharge array, primary and secondary electrical damage increased, radiation bombardment matrix, increased damage of final blast, protomatter field projector, increases hull and shield regeneration. So the traits that come in the order, engineering variant is exotic particle shielding, While the trait is slotted, activating Engineering Team, Science Team, or Tactical Team will provide a buff to all damage resistance ratings. Affected targets will also gain equal amount of damage resistance rating to all exotic damage abilities. That's really cool. Charge Particle Reaction from the Science variant will unlock charge while it's slotted, activating Charge Particle Burst, probably something you should have if you want to use this ship and use its trait. Cause a secondary, less potent version to cascade to be emitted from each target hit by the ability, causing a chain reaction. That's great, because Charge Particle Burst in and of itself, as you see it, I call it a shield shredder, because that's what it does. It shreds shields, and it's an AoE shield shredder. It's not just like the facing that they happen to be at. It hits them all. So if they all do it, and then everybody cascades on top of themselves, it's like having that Tholian rep thing. It's like, yeah, it could be really dangerous to thing shields. And then the Heavy Tachyon Mine, which sounds amazing, but I'm not sure if it's going to be useful. You'll see what I mean here in a second. Activating any what I call weapon upgrades. So that's your beam overload, fire at will, yada yada, or any subsystem targeting ability. Cause your starship to deploy a Heavy Tachyon Mine behind your ship. This large mine is easier for your enemies to see than smaller mines, but it has a larger tracking distance and a larger area of effect. Upon impact, this mine will cause a high kinetic damage with 100% shield penetration in a 3-kilometer area and leave behind a tachyon particle hazard that will heavily damage shields to any foe that remains within it. Unlike normal mine explosions, the Heavy Tachyon Mine's explosion will not harm the starship that deploys it. Additionally, if the mine is destroyed by an enemy, it will still explode, causing damage as normal. So, bonus! So, as I said, the Gorn Hangar Pets, which are new, they're heavy fighters. Looks like you launch 2 of them at a time, so they're much like the Runabout. The first ones you get from the EC store they're equipped on the multi-mission vessel. It's a Disruptor Beam Array in the front, Photon Torpedo Launcher in the front, and Tractor Beam, which is a Disruptor version of a Runabout. And then the one you get from the Fleet Hangar Pet Store, Disruptor Beam Array in the front, Chronoton Torpedo Launcher in the front, Tractor Beam 1, Torpedo Spread 2. I'll say this much, when it comes from playing a bunch of science, that you want to slow enemies down as much as possible. Because as I've stated before, and people just do not feel like listening, engine power is crucial to DPS. Not your DPS. Well, it is crucial to your DPS, but it's not your engine power. It's the enemy's engine power. Because this is something that is probably not necessarily known, it's not necessarily seen, I don't know how many people talk about it. But if you're playing a science vessel, and you want to do a lot of damage to something, shoot out its engine power. Sure, take its shield down. That'll get you straight onto the hull. It's easy to burn through something's shields, I guarantee you. If you know what you're doing, you're burning through something's shields. Plus, we have shit that deals with, it ignores shields or partially ignores shields anyways. Blow out its engine power and you will crit more. Because your accuracy, your innate accuracy, goes against their defense. If you haven't noticed, when you go up to full throttle, not full impulse, well, somewhat full impulse, but if you go up to full throttle, your base defense shoots up. Now imagine if you had no engine power and were sitting still. If you look at your thing in any sort of system space, you have like minus 15 bonus defense. Just by sitting still. So if you can lock something down or make it crawl just because it has no engine power, you're all that extra accuracy over hitting 100% for their defense math is going to go to your crit severity and crit hit. So, plus it stays in one spot. You don't have to track it. I know these things got a great turn rate here, 12, and they got turn rate modifiers and stuff, but the same thing goes with Chronoton torpedoes. When you hit something with a Chronoton torpedo, it has a 33% chance to just dig it for a little bit and stop. It's kind of the idea of a Chronoton torpedo. So that's what you want. You want this. You want things to slow down and not move. It's a control mechanic. This works with gravity well too. When things can't really move out of the gravity well, 1, they're taking damage. 2, they're staying put and they're not moving much, even though their throttle's up. Anyways, so that's what I'm explaining there. I will probably buy these, although I'm kind of looking at some money going on right now, so we had some unforeseen expenses happen. I don't even know when these are coming out, although they already put the stats, so the 9th? They don't put stats out too terribly far in advance. I'm surprised the stats aren't even waiting until tomorrow. So, yeah, I will see about getting them as fast as I can. I will only be getting the Federation one, so I can save the bit of money on that one. I will chat with you guys next week. Again, might have them, but I won't have the full set piece because I probably will not have my thing by then. Lucaria shit. I might. I don't know. I'm losing track of when that thing. I just do the daily and then it'll eventually complete. I'm so on coasting. I coast mode right now. Anyways, I'll chat with you guys next week.